It's Wednesday, April 26th at about 1:30 in the afternoon, and it's getting nice and sunny now after a cloudy, dreary morning of about 3 degrees and rain and drizzle. Now it's clearing up. We got a few puffy clouds still, but about 7 degrees, and I'm on the Fish Creek Bridge looking down into the beautiful Fish Creek flowing fast at this time of year. So we're just walking south from Fish Creek Road. Haven't been up this way for a while, so thought we'd come and visit it today. And luckily the day's turned out beautiful for this little period at least. Aside from taking these walks to walk the dogs, I find them to be a great de-stressor in this stressful time that we live in. Of course, it's been known for a long time that exercise helps to de-stress the body and the mind. So I find it really helpful to get out for a couple hours a day if I can on these walks. Just enjoying nature, breathing the fresh air. And I feel like a new person often when I get back. And while being retired certainly helps with the stress in life, it doesn't necessarily remove it all. Sometimes you get new stresses to think about. And you tend to spend a lot of time around the house, maybe watching TV and stuff like that, and listening to news and all the rest of it, and that can stress you out even further in this day and age. We have been dealing with stressors throughout our evolutionary history. Thousands or tens of thousands of years ago, we would have been dealing with some very basic stressors: the need to find food and water, the need to keep warm, the need to be able to move or perhaps migrate on a yearly or semi-annual basis, the need to find shelter, the need to avoid predators, the need to find mates. But today our stressors are much different. We still have some of those stressors, although in a lot of ways our lives are much easier. Finding food and water for most of us has become a much easier task, and shelter tends to be more readily there for us than perhaps it was in the distant past. But we are exposed to a number of other stressors that our ancestors weren't. Just bombarded with thousands of pieces of information on a daily basis. Just came across this nice northern water snake on the side of the trail, trying to get a little bit of sun in between the clouds. Yeah, approximately 3 feet long, nice size one, beautiful pattern. The dogs walked by and he got a little anxious, curled up into the striking position. Calm down now. Just so people know, because I know some people are watching these videos from all over the world, I'm operating in an area that has no poisonous snakes at all. All the snakes around here are non-poisonous. They're harmless to humans, basically. Yes, sometimes if you annoy them enough, they will strike out and try to bite you, but that's just in self-protection of their own life that they do that. They don't come after you as prey. This is why I'm quite able to get close to all these snakes and take intimate close-up portraits of them, in case some people out there are wondering, how does he do that? He might get bit by a poisonous snake. Well, there are no poisonous snakes around here, just to clear up that. There is one poisonous species of snake in Ontario. It's known as the Massasauga rattlesnake, but it doesn't live around here. It lives over near Georgian Bay and a few spots in south central western Ontario. So we're out of its range here. And again, it's a very timid species. It would only strike out if it felt an immediate threat. So we're just coming up to Elbow Creek Bridge here. This is the same bridge I often walk to from the southern end. On that hike, it's about a 5.5 kilometer hike to here. But where we started today, it's about a 2 kilometer or a 2.5 kilometer hike south from Fish Creek Road. Going to spend a minute here and then head back and then walk north of Fish Creek Road a bit and check out the marshes north of there. So returning back to the theme I was earlier talking about, stressors on our daily life, it's certainly not hard to see how so many people suffer from stress-related illnesses these days. As I mentioned, we're exposed to millions of bits of information every day, probably much more so than our ancient ancestors, even though they had some really strict stressors placed right upon them as individuals. Just the struggle to stay alive each day. While most of us today don't deal with those immediate stressors in the same way, we have all this other information constantly coming at us. And I think that in itself can place huge loads on the mind and the body. I think it's been well documented too that if you can add some more vigorous activity into your daily lives, that helps de-stress even more. So activity that gets the heartbeat going, whether it's faster walking or jogging or cycling, swimming, weightlifting, can be another big benefit if you can add those in at least a few times a week. It's also my hope that watching my videos can help people de-stress from their normal lives. So I guess I better stop talking about this subject, or people might start getting stressed watching my videos. Here's a smaller northern water snake, and very tan colored. Not really much indication of the barring on the body either, which is interesting. They seem to be just popping out now a bit to get this late afternoon sun. That big guy was very cold that I just filmed. I pushed him off the trail and he was reluctant to go. I just didn't want him to get run over by an ATV. Zoe's just fascinated with these snakes. She doesn't really know what to make of them. I now call her the snake setter because she can find them quite easily using her nose, even when they're well hidden. But these ones are just out on the trail basking, trying to get warm. And she doesn't try to threaten them at all. She just wants to find out what they are. Well, it's 2:38 and we're gradually making our way back to the Fish Creek Bridge where we parked. As you can see in the background, it's clouding up again. We might even be in for a few showers. So I'll have to see what it's like when we get back to the car, whether we go further north or not. We've been out for over an hour now, but I was hoping to go a little bit longer, but maybe we'll cut it short. So we have come further up the trail, just at least through this marsh section. I wanted to see that at least since we came up here. It's nice to go through here every so often. It's such a pretty area. It's been a while since I've been here, probably last fall, I guess. So it's 3 o'clock and we're just going to head back now. We reached the north end of the marsh. It was beautiful and calm, really nice scenes for taking photos. We got about 10 minutes to get back to the car, then we got to get back and do a few chores around the place. Hope you enjoyed this outing on the K&P Trail at Fish Creek Road.